Now, you mentioned you were in special education, and one of the things you have been very candid about is how you navigated life growing up with a learning disability. Was there a moment, or when did you realize that you did have a learning disability?
Like, cause I always had I always had a problem with reading and like calculating math in my head. That was just never my thing. And every time I would read and the words, like ever since I was a kid, it was like that. So I always knew it was something up with me reading. But when I came to like comprehensions of certain things and how I retain my information, I didn't really understand that until probably like my junior year when my English teacher broke it down to me on what the difference between like how your quote unquote normal functioning brain is or somebody who has ADD or ADHD. And when I finally understood that, it was just like damn. And I didn't tell nobody. It was just like I knew to myself. I was just like, damn, I got that. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Mm,
probably the other people who knew already, or like teachers or guidance counselors or whatever. But it was the first time where it really hit me, like, damn, like that's me. You know what I'm saying? And it was like I went through a, a whole period, I would say, with like building like layers and layers and layers on top of that, to where I wouldn't feel that vulnerable about it ever again.
yeah, and how, because everybody knows that went through school, there's always a stigma that is put on kids who are in special education. How did you cope with that stigma being put on you?
I was embarrassed. I mean, it was hard because I like people make like again like especially kids. Kids is cruel, you know, and like I know it now. And it's not so much I think the person was individually messed up as an adult or whatever, but when I was a kid, that shit was you get lunch table, you get picked on. You in the yard, you get picked on. Like you get nonstop people talking about you, talking about how dumb you are, how stupid you is, and stuff like that. And that's like it played a major effect on me because like I was always the butt of the joke. I was always, you know what I mean? I was always either the black kid or the dumb kid or you know what I mean? Something out of the sort to where I was being distanced from everybody else or showing me that I wasn't like everybody else. And um for me, I think that a lot of the things where I get either in trouble now or to my success now is because of that. Because I'm so used to it, it doesn't affect me as much as it would anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a gift and a curse that comes with that. 'Cause I was telling, I was talking to one of my brother's boys over there in Tel Aviv. He was like, "Man, you did this, you did that, you did that," and he was like, kind of like glorifying it. And I'm sitting here like, bro, that shit ain't funny. Like, that shit ain't cool. Like, I had real live blood, sweat, and tears that came from behind that shit. Like that shit is not like something that I want to like even talk about or glorify to make it seem like it's something cool. And it's so much of that, but it's like, how do you express that without somebody saying, "Oh, you being overly sensitive, or you doing this, you being that?" Because we're in a position to where other people's pains and traumas is funny to some people. You know what I'm saying? And like to me, that's like some of the worst shit you can do is turn somebody else's pains and trauma into like just not even acknowledging it. But even when you do acknowledge it, it's funny, it's humorous.
We call that creating boundaries, and a lot of people don't want to adhere to boundaries. Like they want to be able to say what they want to say, and this and that, and yeah, I guess I get that. But if somebody is telling you this is hurting me, or this makes me feel vulnerable, and you still continue to either ridicule them about it, or you're not taking it as seriously, then to me that reflects poorly on you, and not on the person that's telling you, "Hey, this is what's up with me." Um, and that's why I found it so incredible that you decided to do this docu-series on Amazon, which is out now, called Redefined. Because that's a kind of a perfect description. But in a way, I was thinking about it, it's not so perfect for you because how other people defined you is not your problem. And so maybe they're the ones that needed to be, they needed the redefinition. You didn't really need that because you knew who you were. But
100%.
let's talk about this series, which where you open your life up. And for those who are not familiar with your story, just to give them the sort of brief capsule, is in your mid 30s you decided to go back to college, and not just go back to college, go to North Carolina A&T. Shout out to the Aggies, but also to play golf. For the Aggies as well. One, why did you want to open your life in this way for people to see you through this lens?
For me, I looked at it from a standpoint like I don't want nobody else to feel like I do. Like I go through it like the way I did. Like there's so much that I wanted to know and wanted to ask, and I was afraid just because of people who looked at me certain types of ways or called me dumb or and let that really play in my mind to where I don't know the things that I need to know or want to know. And I know there's plenty of dudes right now either in the league or out the league or who been in certain situations that I've had and never expressed the feelings that we've felt, and just off of pure being, too proud or just not feeling like somebody else is going to take you as serious or look at you differently. Like even my peers now, like I play with some of the dudes I play with. When I talk about some of the things I've talked about in the last couple of months, I see the way they look at me completely different than when they look at me when before they even thought I had an actual problem. And they look at me like, damn,
Mm.
like bro, I don't got the cooties or nothing. Like bro, just because I think I'm not privy to certain ways that I think the way everybody else is doesn't mean like I'm like it literally looks at you like he good like bro what like I'm the same dude like what are you talking about we just going over screens and calling out and everything. It's the same person. Like it's hard. It's like really hard when you look when you people like you feel as though you cherish and love and care about look feel as though they look at you differently and not and not quote unquote acceptance of the things you have going on. And again, like you said before, that's something for more for them to deal with. But it's still hard when you when you go through it, when you build those relationships, when you have those encounters. And I feel for the younger generation because it's not something that everybody want to talk about. It's not something everybody want to hear. Like nowadays, and I hear a lot in sports, just from the older generations, like, oh, the mental health is so overplayed. Like, bro, okay, even if you felt like that, how do you know if this person really is or isn't going through that? How do you judge that? You can't. So either roll with it or not. But at the end of the day, you can't just sit here and just be upset because it wasn't around when you were there. If anything, you should be happy that it got better to where it is now, to where they can actually say something. Because a lot of people like us didn't make it out in positive situations. There's a lot of people who went the other way, where alcohol abuse, abusing their family members, their women, like children. Like it's so many different ways to go about it, and people only look at it like, oh no, it's only because it's a competitive.
So when you said that, people, guys now kind of look at you like, oh, he's different. Is it, do you think some of this is because you're evolving and they aren't?
Um, Honestly, I haven't really thought about it because I try to throw myself into continuously evolving. I don't really look at nobody else and see if they are or they aren't evolving because I'm so thrown into what I got going on. Like it's hard for me to like, and it was crazy because it was easier for me when I was hooping to do that, and I've learned that, like. I do so much now, and I have so much on my plate. I don't really have time to think about nobody else and what they got going on, and that's what one thing I'm so appreciative for because in the field of which that entertainment bubble in a sense, like it's so much hate and it's nastiness and I don't know what else to call it. Like it's not for me. And a lot of it is just like not even having to like be plugged in, but I could be on my phone and be around in the environment and and immediately start thinking of like certain people who just don't bring bad energy. And for where I'm at right now, it's like I get so much positive feedback and so much positive things going. Like it's so hard for me to even unplug, like to go back in that state. Like a lot of people ask me if I want to play again. Like I don't get me wrong, I love hooping, but like to me mentally to go back in that state of mind and that feel is just so it's not conducive for my health, my personal health. So I'm really focused on how can I continuously stay positive for as long as I can because this shit don't last. Like
Mm.
happiness is literally a feeling, and just like sad is and everything else. So I'm trying to stay happy for as long as I can. That's all I can focus on.